Hi there. A lot of parents try to hand over responsibility to their children only to have to take it back when the child fails at the task. This is a recipe for disaster, since the child will end up feeling that he got too much responsibility too fast and that he was then treated as a child. It also makes it more difficult to get the child to take responsibility another time around. You solve this by transferring responsibility slowly and through a series of controlled steps. And you talk openly about this so that your child knows what's going on and feels in on it. Let me explain this through an example. A mother came to my office with her 14-year-old boy who had the ADHD diagnosis. They were fighting all day over little things and big things like homework, chores, dinner, school, everything. The boy claimed that he was able to function normally, but that his mom was always after him for not doing things at the right time or in the right way. The mom said that every time they agreed that the boy should do something, it was done improperly and not on time, and that she had to watch him closely to make sure that things were being done. This is a typical catch-22 that I see again and again in families and in relationships. So I told them a story. The story is a case story from a book that I read many years ago, and unfortunately I can't remember the title, so I'll be paraphrasing the story as well as I remember it. It's about a family with a 5 to 6-year-old daughter. They have constant struggles about everything from food to bedtimes and everything else. The author, who's a therapist, tells them to make an agreement for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, the girl gets full responsibility for everything she does, what she eats and when she goes to bed and when she gets up, and so on. And the parents are to let her learn everything she can in those 2 weeks about all the things that she can control. There's just one rule in this. If the girl, by the end of 2 weeks, have figured out how to eat so she has good energy in her body and sleep enough to be fresh and prepared for school at a certain time in the morning, then she gets to keep her new privileges. Otherwise, the parents resume the major responsibility for all those things, but are invited to adjust according to her progress. In the beginning, of course, the girl screws up. She stays up late, eats crap food, is too tired for school, and so on. She's motivated to succeed, though, and through her failures, by the end of the 2-week period, she has found her way into good, nutritious food, early bedtimes, plenty of sleep, and so on. And she gets to keep all her new privileges. And of course, the fighting is over. As I went through the case study with the mother and her son in my office, they agreed that this way of thinking was inspirational. So they wanted to make a plan for how the boy could prove to his mother that he was already capable of assuming responsibility for himself without being interrupted and feeling violated by his mother. The boy had a homework assignment to do over summer vacation. He had to read 600 pages during the next 3 weeks ahead of him. They agreed that he could use the assignment to prove that he was capable of taking full responsibility. To keep the mother happy and to ensure accountability, I asked the boy how often and how his mom could check in to see if he was on track. He said that every Sunday, his mother was allowed to ask, "Are you following your plan?" Now, if he said yes, she had to trust him and wait another week before asking the exact same question again the following Sunday. If he said no to following the plan, she was allowed to ask, "Is there anything you would like me to do?" If the answer was no, she had to accept it and trust him and only address it again the following Sunday. If the answer was yes, the boy would explain how she could help him. After 3 weeks, he had finished reading the book as planned. And because he was doing so well and a new atmosphere of trust was spreading in the house, his parents had already started a series of other similar experiments with him. After 8 weeks, his mother told me that the boy had full control over most of his life decisions and that he was functioning really well. The fighting had stopped entirely, and so had most of the boy's ADHD symptoms. They were in fact planning to get a reevaluation with the psychiatrist to get him to remove the boy's ADHD diagnosis. This case shows how just changing the conversation sometimes can change the dynamics in the family and what is being expressed in both the parent and the child. You are welcome to consider the following questions. What kind of changes like this are you ready to talk about in your family? Where is your child already capable, but not using his capabilities, maybe because of the conflicts? How can you start a conversation about this with your child? I'll see you in the next and final video.